Hi, welcome to Dark History. I'm Sarah Lee.
And I'm Josh.
And today we're looking at the case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who murdered her mother in 2015 along with her boyfriend Nicholas Gojan.
Yeah, this ought to be good. I know a little bit about Gypsy Rose. I do. Obviously, you were the one who introduced me to her, and I got to tell you, the first time I heard her voice.
Oh, God.
So.
That's something.
Which is going to be even funnier because, like I've said before, that movie coming out is going to be just so cringy.
Yeah, it's kind of bad enough that her voice. I mean, that's obviously not her fault. She's been through a lot. Things have probably affected her voice. But it's bad enough her voice being like it is without an actress trying to replicate it.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's going to sound a lot worse.
I mean, it's not like a woman's dyeing her hair or anything, or like Tom Hanks did with Sully,
Yeah, it's going to be a strange one. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yes. I don't know. So what's her deal? Like, her mom...
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do the case because it's really important. Well, I think it's a really important case to look at because it's so different. It's not a straightforward, someone didn't like someone, they killed someone.
Okay.
They got life in jail. It's different. There's things to look at. There's the people that are saying she shouldn't even be in jail,
Okay.
And then other people are saying she should have been sentenced for a lot longer.
Okay.
So it's a pretty hot topic of debate.
Well, I mean, I'd say so. I mean, but then again, yeah, she did kill her. She didn't even kill her mom. She got that guy.
She didn't actually do anything. It was other than suggest the murder of her mother, but I'll get to that later. I'm going to start, just so you've got all the information, I'm going to start in a clear, story format. So I'm going to do a bit of Dee Dee's early life. That's her mother.
Ah, that's right. That was her name.
Go from there. So move on to Gypsy being born and then meeting Nicholas and then the murder. Just so you've got all the information in the right order. So, right. Dee Dee was born, and she wasn't called Dee Dee when she was born. She was called Claudine Petra, on May the 3rd in 1967 in a place called Chack Bay, Louisiana, which obviously I'm not American. I'm not familiar with.
It's Louisiana.
I just know that I went to go to New Orleans, and that's in Louisiana. So,
fair enough.
That's all I know. Her parents were Emma and Claudine Petra, and she had 6 siblings, so it was a busy house. There's not much really about her childhood, but there is a lot of interviews with her family, later on, and none of those are actually very positive. There's a lot of petty theft in her childhood. They're all basically along the theme of she's obsessed with money, she's very manipulative, she'll do anything she can to get money.
Alright, so... Alright.
Yeah, so, I mean, some people could say a typical woman.
Dang. That's coming from you, right?
Yeah, so, like I said, there's not much known, but there is an incident of credit card fraud. A bit later on, after she split up with Gypsy's dad, there is an incident where she was suspected of killing her own mother, or trying to kill her own mother, after the breakup, and she did get arrested then for writing some bad checks and minor offences towards her family.
Okay, so this Dee Dee person, obviously not a good person by the moral limits of today's society, but
there is all that, but then there's Gypsy's dad, who she got married to, Rod Blanchard, I'll say, just so we know his name if it comes up later. She got married to him when she was 24 and he was 17.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's legal in some states.
I know it's legal, but it's a bit strange for me. But I guess if it was the other way around, it'd be worse.
There's countries like, I don't know, England or something, you can... the age of consent's 16,
Well, yeah, and I get that it is a man that's younger, so maybe that's a bit different. But anyways...
Have you seen the woman? She looks like an easy lay.
Well,
Yeah,
she
just
was
saying.
actually very pretty when she was younger. She was a beauty queen in some pageants.
Oh, okay. So that's where she gets the.
She lost
Yeah.
her weight she lost her looks as she got overweight when
Yeah.
she got a bit older.
So pretty much, pretty much what you're saying is beauty queen, that kind of thing. She's very manipulative. So in other words, she was daddy's little girl, kind of thing.
I
Is that
think
right?
so. I mean, she must have been in order to get away with all the credit card fraud towards her dad and all the
Yeah, I mean.
stealing, and they must have been something like that.
Mm.
But yeah, she married him when she found out she was pregnant with Gypsy. But he's always said that she was absolutely perfect. She was a lovely southern lady, perfect housewife, perfect mother. So
Sounds like it.
there is some
Wait,
conflict
that
here.
is Dee Dee's mom, or is that Dee Dee
That's
herself?
Gypsy's dad.
Wait, so Gypsy's dad said that his ex-wife was
Yeah.
a wonderful mom. Well, I guess, if you had the wool blown over your eyes, like pulled over your eyes like that, you'd
Yeah,
think
I
so,
mean, I'm
wouldn't
just saying it is out there that he thought during that period that she was an amazing wife.
you? Yeah.
Um,
All right, so back to her getting married. You said she was 24.
yes.
17. Yeah, that's technically legal, and like I said, yeah, that's pretty much an easy lay, I guess. I mean, but at the same time, beauty queen kind of thing, that kind of, I've got problems with that to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
If as we'll find out later,
Yeah.
we'll find out why I have issues with that. But how long were they married?
They were married for quite a while. I couldn't actually find the exact date or year, but I know they split up around 97 when Dee Dee moved back in with her family.
Mm.
So I think Gypsy would have been 6 at that point. And that was before she'd started fudging the ages.
Oh,
so Gypsy was 6. Oh yeah, they were married for a good long time, and he obviously really liked her. He just said that he wasn't in love with her, like she was the perfect wife, perfect mother. He just was not in love with her.
You see some of the documentaries, it seems like Gypsy's dad is a good dude.
Oh, he seems lovely.
Seems like a nice guy, at least on camera.
I think he does sound like a good guy, and I can't believe what all that did to him when it all came out. I mean, you think as we'll get to later, you think you've got a child that, is not going to live very long. You're terrified her whole life, and then you find out that, none of it was true. And
Okay. Speak on that note. What exactly was going on? I mean, they split up. This woman's been.
yeah, well, Gypsy was obviously, Gypsy was born. She was born premature, and even though her dad says that she was like a really healthy baby, like, a bit small but healthy, until she was about 3 months old, and then Gypsy was convinced she had sleep apnea, so she took this baby
At
to
3
months.
3 months old.
3
Sleep
months
apnea.
old,
Okay.
sorry. So yeah, she took this baby to the hospital, tons of hospital appointments, staying overnight, trying to see if this little baby had sleep apnea.
Huh. Okay.
And that was the start of all the, various medical ailments.
Yeah, it seems like there's a whole rap sheet full of them, isn't it? Alright, so 3 months old, they already got them working on it. They split up around 6.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how this time, what was going on. See, I didn't do as much research as you did, but I do know the keynotes.
Yeah.
She started pulling her into doctors for certain different things. Like, didn't she have her tonsils out at an early age? And
Yeah, well, it's quite strange because as we go on down the list of ailments and incidents, it seems like she does have a lot of surgeries in between, but they are all quite minor surgeries, other than maybe the feeding tube because they're quite risky.
Okay.
I've had one of those myself. They're not nice.
Oh, yeah, no. I can imagine.
So, and that is quite a big operation because they have to get it in there.
Through the nose, I believe.
Yes, it's horrible.
No, I can't imagine that's
It's
fun.
absolutely awful. But yeah, they were all for quite minor things. So I think this is Dee Dee trying to, like, make things sound worse, because I think she'd probably tell people that these surgeries were for major things when, you know, in reality, she was just trying to get doctors to do any surgery that they would.
Okay.
Which is quite...
So what, she'd go in there and make up a bunch of crap and then...
Yeah, she'd go in there and say that she thought something was wrong with Gypsy. Like I said, there was the sleep apnea at 3 months and things... They got progressively worse until there was muscular dystrophy and cancer and...
Oh, wow.
leukemia, I believe it was.
Okay.
But that came later. That came in after they'd done the move to Missouri, which I'll talk about a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I lost where I was for a second.
No, that's all right. No, I get it. You know, that's why I brought you a cherry Coke. And,
Thank you.
And stuff to help you remain focused. I know that there's so much here.
Yeah, it's just so much, especially with all these doctors and all these medical conditions, because it's hard to get a clear timeline anyway. What is clear is that she had a walker before she was 6 years old, because when she was 6 years old there was an incident on her granddad's motorbike. They had a minor accident.
Okay.
Gypsy got a graze on her knee, from what I can tell.
And that
The
puts you on a
records just
walker.
say... No, she had the walker before this. This is what I'm
okay.
saying, because there's no clear date or timeline, so I just know that she was already using a walker before this accident, because this accident is what led her to become confined to a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the medical records show that there's a abrasion on her knee.
Okay, so she scraped her knee and no amount of mommy kisses could fix it.
Yes, her mum went on to tell people that doctors had said that this was just an outside sign of a much more serious injury, and that only a lot of surgeries would help her daughter ever walk again.
Okay. So a bunch of surgeries. She's 6 years old, confined to a wheelchair, boo-boo on the knee. Mm-hmm. And that's some external blah, blah, blah. Hey, you're never going to walk again.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's like, wow. At 6 years old, you know, when you think all these people buying it, I can't imagine that the doctors actually went along with this either.
I thought about this a lot, and obviously I don't think the doctors did go along with it. And that's why I think they saw so many doctors. I mean, Gypsy saw hundreds of doctors.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was literally that her mother would go to one, and maybe that doctor would say, oh, no, she's fine. And, you know, Dee Dee would kick off and be like, no, she's not. I know my daughter, and go to the next one.
Okay. That just, I don't know. I mean, where are the medical records? Like, wouldn't you move medical records? What, are you losing them?
This is what we're going to in a minute. They'd both, after the split up with Gypsy's dad, obviously Dee Dee had moved in with her parents for a little while, and she had some nursing experience. Her mother was ill at the time, and she was her mother's carer, as well as Gypsy's. But there was, I don't know the details, there was an accusation that Dee Dee had caused her mother's death due to basically starving her.
Oh, okay. So neglect, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so obviously she was, you know, pretty much sent away. They didn't want her around. She just murdered her mother.
Yeah.
So she moved with Gypsy to, I can't remember the first place, but she moved to a place called Aurora, where they kind of settled. They had a rented house. The bills were basically, because Gypsy wasn't going to school.
Mm-hmm.
She did go to school for a very short time. I think she was took out in the first grade, second grade. to be homeschooled because Dee Dee had said that her illnesses were just too severe. She couldn't be out of the house and away from her mother's care for that long. So obviously Dee Dee couldn't work. So they were getting some public assistance granted to them because of these illnesses. Obviously, you have a disabled child, you receive some help from the government or the state, as it would be because it's America.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically every country itself is a state, but we'll go on.
I get confused with certain things because obviously I'm from England, which is one government runs the entire country, but it's very small, so it's a different setup in America. But it's ultimately the same, that they got some money to help with bills and expenses from the government. And Gypsy's dad was also paying $1,200 a month child support, and he did pay for trips to the doctor's, medical expenses. On top of that, he wanted to fully support his daughter as much as he could.
Man, I forget what that guy made or did for a living.
I feel
like it had something to do with driving. Was he a trucker?
I feel really bad now because I can't actually
remember. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and Google that because, that seems like a lot of money.
Please, because I did find that out, and being the neglectful person that I am, I didn't write that in my notes.
That's fine. Roses. Gypsy Rose's boyfriend. That's funny. All right.
Oh,
cool.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we're not there yet. We will get to that.
Gypsy Rose's dad's occupation. Look at me using words. All right. Okay. That is not her father. That's Rod Blanchard.
That is her father.
That's his name. What does he do? It's not really giving you much. I know he does something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I saw it in a documentary. I don't think I could find it anywhere else.
Lord, that is some terrifying imagery right there. I mean, you're just looking at her, Dee Dee. Look at that. Dee Dee sitting there with your classic 80s get up. Absolutely no cleavage. I'm such a Christian woman. Even got the cross.
The little girl looks. She's always until Dee Dee gets murdered, when Gypsy is supposedly 19, but she's actually 23. She's still dressed in very young children's clothes.
You know what? It's not even coming up as to what he does. I mean, nothing here even says anything other than they're trying to get better as a family, and which is good. I mean, that's obviously the one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that at the end, but maybe someone else knows and they'll comment or something, but I couldn't find it. I did hear it in a documentary, but I can't remember. But yeah, anyway, he really tried to support them. He was financially, he would do anything, because he wasn't really allowed to see Gypsy all that much. Like, he was allowed to see her, and he went and saw her for like an hour or so, but her mother would never leave them alone, and little things like that. So I don't know, I guess she thought that Gypsy's health was just too bad to have visitors for very long, and which, I mean, is a shame because he sounds like an excellent father, really.
Oh, yeah. Well, not according to Dee Dee, obviously. Said the man was a deadbeat, a drug addict, an alcoholic, and abandoned them too. And it's like, that is a very common practice. Once
they got to Louisiana, she tried to make excuses so he couldn't come and see her, and she was telling all her neighbours, because her neighbours were obviously helping her all the time, because, here's this amazing, inspiring family. The daughter's not got long to live. She's got all these different illnesses.
Oh, yeah.
Her mother's doing everything she can. She's got no money, so she told them all that the father had abandoned them, didn't pay child support.
Well, I mean, like a manipulative woman, I guess.
Yeah, well...
it was even so bad as Gypsy went on record saying that, whenever she was in interviews or whenever they were together, her mom would have her hand on her arm or some part of her body, and whenever she was asked a question, her mom would squeeze her body part and to make her realize or make her understand. It's like, hey, look, You better answer right.
Yeah, I mean,
They put a lot of emphasis on that in the trailer for the new movie. You ought to see it. It's absolutely hilarious.
there is things like I've seen the interviews and Gypsy would be like trying to walk and her mother was like, no, you can't do that because if you try then it'll just be longer.
Yeah.
You know, oh no, it'll be quicker that you can't walk again. Like, you
Yeah.
can't. Don't do it. It's stuff like that. It's ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, they moved to this place called Aurora and Hurricane Katrina reportedly destroyed the house. So obviously then this is
that was a
what
bad
brought the family into the media. You know, they were everywhere. This poor family has lost their house, lost everything, lost medical records, lost birth certificates.
Yeah, I can see where that's going.
Yeah. So Habitats for Humanity were the charity that built them, or had a house built already, but gave them this free house in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
Um,
That's the one where the Simpsons live, right?
Actually, what state was it that the Simpsons live in? Because it just always says Springfield. Did they ever say a state?
No.
Or is it just...
They actually made the joke, or make that a long-running joke, that it's bordered on New York, Carolina, California.
Yeah, because I was going to say
Like,
there's a lot of Springfields, isn't there, in America?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it just like a play on that?
Oh, it's just a bunch of jokes. I'm
Okay.
sure ain't nobody gonna ever know where it is. But all right, so they moved to Missouri.
Yeah, it's...
Missouri.
You know,
Missouri,
there's this
however you
big
wanna
house
pronounce it.
designed for obviously all these disabilities, and there's a hot tub, and it's an expensive house. It's a
hot
nice
tub.
house.
Hot tubs are nice.
So this is where things get a bit weird, and Gypsy suddenly acquires leukemia. I don't know where she got it from. There's no records. Just all of a sudden.
She probably got it from the toilet seat.
God.
All right, so she didn't have any medical records.
It
and all of
wasn't
a sudden
AIDS. It was
she-
chlamydia.
Oh yeah, it was
Chlamydia?
something.
It was leukemia.
It wasn't AIDS.
Oh, dear.
It was chlamydia. What?
Yeah, that was bad.
But yeah, no kidding. But all right, so they go to Missouri.
Missouri.
Well, it's however you pronounce it.
Is it?
Some people call it Missouri. Some people call it Missouri.
Honestly, I didn't know it was a state till yesterday. I thought that Missouri was a city.
I thought it was
So-
just a state of mind.
So yeah, they move to Missouri, and that's where everything gets a bit fuzzy, and all of a sudden she's got more illnesses.
Okay.
She's all of a sudden born in 1993, and then later this changes to 1994. I'm not clear if that was... I think it's so that she could keep receiving the government assistance because Gypsy had to be under 18.
That's probably about right. Seems about right.
But I don't understand how the government didn't pick this up, or how someone didn't pick this up, because surely they had records from before with Gypsy's actual age. It's really confusing to me how doctors and government officials... Is it just because the different states wouldn't share this information?
No, see, I know when I have to work my medical records, the doctor has the medical records. You have a copy if you request it,
Yeah.
and you can take that copy of your entire medical history and take it to another doctor and go from there.
See, that's what I thought.
Well, see, on top of that, the doctor can request medical records from
Yeah.
those other people. The problem here was that they weren't requesting, medical records from the other doctors, or when Gypsy Rose's mom, Dee Dee, I lost her name for some reason. Dexter's Laboratory up in here. What's this button do?
I love that.
Oh, isn't it great? But whenever she would go in there and be like, hey, look, this is going on. Well, let me get the other medical records. She'd pull them out and call him a quack.
Yeah.
Pretty much just doing everything she could to manipulate the system so she could keep
Yeah.
getting benefits.
It still just is confusing to me.
With the other side is you have your Social Security number in America, which, in England,
See,
you
this
would
is
have
what
the
I
National
was thinking
Security.
about, because you've explained Social Security numbers to me before. So surely they would have known her real age.
You can, unless... Okay, so let's say you're giving us a Social Security number. All right? As long as you hold on to that Social Security number, then somebody can identify you with that social security number. My guess is that somehow down the line she lost her
Okay, so she must have
information.
lost the social
So
security
her identity
numbers.
had been changed to some.
Oh.
And now this is just a theory because, it
See,
could be
we
anything.
can't do that here. We get national insurance numbers, but they can never change. Even if we lose it, we have the same number. We just request it back from the government.
I'm not saying it changed. I'm just
Okay.
saying that she could have put something else down.
Oh,
You know, she
okay.
could have put an alias.
I'm with
Been
you.
like, oh, this is Gypsy Rose. This is her social security number.
Right.
Okay, well, no records on her. Let's just go on with what the
Okay.
mom said.
That makes sense.
You know, it could have been anything, but that is just a theory on it. I mean,
Yeah, I guess we'll never know that one, but
mm.
there was even
Or maybe we will. I don't know.
there was even that phone call. It's in like every documentary in the book and stuff. There's a phone call that a dad made on her 18th birthday to wish her happy birthday.
Ah, yes.
And Dee Dee said, "Oh, please don't mention her age because she thinks she's 14. She's really confused and it might upset her."
I remember that. That was
That's
retarded.
so weird.
That was absolutely ridiculous.
And she told all the neighbours because obviously Gypsy was very lonely. Her whole life it's just been her and her mother. She doesn't go to school. You know, she doesn't socialise. She can't even see her dad on her own.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the visitations were like bi-weekly for 30 minutes at a McDonald's.
Yeah, well, by this point in Louisiana, he wasn't even seeing her.
Mm.
But obviously they had a lot of neighbours that wanted to help out and she wanted to portray a great impression to the neighbours. So there were a few neighbour children Gypsy's age who weren't really children at this point of the record. It kind of skips quite a while and then records seem to go on to her being a teenager, like an older teenager.
Yeah.
Just before meeting Nicholas. Saying a lot. I'm a bit worried about that.
Nah, it's like saying but you know.
Yeah.
It's not.
Sorry, I've just noticed and I was sat there like, oh, I'm saying that all the time.
No, you're fine.
But obviously it's just me trying to help myself think. Because I have some notes, but I'm not really looking at them because I've done that much research the past few days. It's just kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of bread and butter at the moment.
Okay.
There you go again. All right, so 18th birthday, called them
neighbours.
up. Neighbours.
So neighbours, she finally got some people to talk to a little bit.
Yeah.
And the mother had said to them, Gypsy has the mental age of a 7-year-old. Please talk to her like that. You know, don't talk to her about teenage stuff. She's not ready emotionally to deal with the boys, the puberty, anything that you might talk to a teenager about that you wouldn't talk to a child about.
Yeah.
So even these visits were controlled by her mother. Her mother was there and they weren't allowed to talk about anything. So Gypsy was probably, in my mind, very confused at that point because even if you're told that you have a mental age of 7, once you start growing up, you do go through puberty, you do go through changes. There are things you notice. So surely this was very traumatizing.
Yeah, one day you fall asleep, next day you wake up, you got boobs.
Yeah, like how was that explained to her? Like it worries me. I mean that.
You imagine the teenage angst going on there?
Yeah, I mean we've got an 11-year-old, you know, now, and she is getting to be quite interesting, as it is.
Yeah, you look at Gypsy at that age. I really couldn't tell you. You know,
That's what I mean.
she's going through changes, but she's not having them explained.
In a wheelchair.
She's even cut off from the internet at the time.
Like all the media.
Any outside sources, really?
All the media attention that came with this new house and the Hurricane Katrina was that big that she got a trip to Disney World paid for by Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh, nice.
She got free trips to different states. There's one notable one to Kansas to see specialists and doctors, you know, because the doctors that Dee Dee was seeing in Missouri were probably fed up with her at that point.
I can imagine.
It does actually go on record at that point that one doctor did pick up her file and say that he thought that Gypsy was suffering from Munchausen's by proxy.
Now, what is that exactly?
Right. Munchausen syndrome is where you hurt yourself to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
Munchausen's by proxy is where you hurt someone else, usually someone in your care, a child or a patient if you're a nurse or doctor, to get sympathy and attention. And normally it's sort of, in most cases in history, it's been like you do something to make a child or someone ill,
Okay.
and then you get them better, and then you're the hero.
Oh, okay.
So it's not usually intentional that they die. I mean, sometimes it is, and it's a case of they die and you get the sympathy because you tried so hard to.
Okay.
You know.
You put so much effort into it.
Yeah.
But didn't she have some, like, lymph nodes or something removed from her body? She had a couple, like, glands removed from her. What was it? Salivary glands?
Yeah,
I think
that was
it was.
Gypsy.
Yeah, Gypsy
because
had them removed. Or they had them removed.
her mother said
some
that she
reason.
was drooling constantly. Again, I think this is one of those operations where you didn't need much evidence.
Yeah.
The same with the tonsils and other things. It's minor surgery.
Okay.
And I think that, like I said, she was just trying to get any surgeries to show people that Gypsy was going into surgeries.
Okay.
Because she most likely told these people that it was for something bigger.
All right. Excuse me.
And yeah, on that as well, she also did get like loads of tickets to see a favourite celebrity. She was obsessed with Miranda Lambert, and they got her backstage passes to see Miranda. Miranda gave the family a cheque for £3,500. She'd send
Wow,
Gypsy.
pounds in America?
Oh,
I'm
dollars.
kidding.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just picking on
I'm
you.
terrible. It's
No,
because
it's
it's
okay.
American. I'll get that. A lot of the cases I'm going to do are English, like Victorian era. This is just one I want to do because it's different.
It certainly is a different one for this time. It's a good start.
Yes, so Miranda sent her gifts and everything all the time. Sent her a birthday card for her 18th birthday, all because, you know, this poor child was dying every year. Dee Dee would tell people she's not got long to live, she's got a few months, and then it was, oh, she's a miracle child, she's survived
Oh, yeah.
another year.
Yeah.
So she got a lot. So yeah, it's unclear sort of where her mind was a bit earlier, but it must have been quite confusing. I mean, I guess a lot of her time was taken up by these doctors and all this free stuff. And
Oh, yeah. No, I can imagine.
So, yeah, I was talking about when she got some friends.
Yeah.
So there were some girls, one girl in particular, that she started talking to, and Dee Dee would allow access.
Yeah.
And what Gypsy finally did was she created her own secret Facebook account, because she had a Facebook account, but it was a joint one with her mother.
Yeah.
So her mother could control everything on it and see.
There's that teenage angst I was talking about.
Which, I mean, yeah.
You gotta be a rebel.
We keep constantly checking Summer's electronics just in case, you know, because she's not allowed a Facebook account. So at a certain age, that I think is okay, but at this point, I think Gypsy was about, or she thought she was about 16, 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, she decided she wanted her own Facebook account, and then she could talk to these people without her mum controlling it. So she was talking to this girl, asking her questions about boys and kissing and
Your normal teenage girl
stuff.
thing.
Which I think it's really sweet that she at least had the one person to talk to about that, because it is a confusing time, especially if you're being told you've got the mental age of a 7-year-old and you're not allowed to talk about these things.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so she's got a friend.
I mean, what must have happened when she started her period?
The same thing I assume happens to every girl. They think they're dying.
You know what I mean, though? Like, I was terrified. I was running downstairs like, Mom, there's so much blood.
Oh no! I don't know.
But no, I mean, because if she wasn't, I don't know. Because she must have had a period, like, quite late, because otherwise she'd have thought she was, like...
Well, you think of all that medication that she's probably
True.
on. You think of all the,
Yeah, she was prescribed
stuff.
a lot of medication, and I'm like, how did the the mother even get the doctor to prescribe this when the doctors are clearly saying there's nothing wrong with her?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that under extreme bouts of stress, you have your period early. Now, obviously, I'm a guy. I don't really know anything
Yeah,
about
that is true.
that stuff, except it happens once a month, and then you feed the person a bunch of chocolate and run away. You know, that's about all I know.
That's a very good sort of way to deal with that. Yeah, I
That's what I'm
agree.
saying. But I mean, Gypsy Rose had this friend who probably explained a lot more, than Dee Dee wanted
Oh, yeah.
explained. I mean, it's not like they were having
Well-
sleepovers and trading bras or anything, but they were on Facebook.
See, it gets a bit weird though, because this is where this friend, she finally tells this friend that she's met this boy on a Christian dating site.
Oh yeah, that's right. What was the kid's name? Nicholas.
Yeah, that was the first sign of Nicholas Goad John.
Nicholas Goad John.
Goad John.
Goad John.
Yeah, it's a really strange name.
Goad. How's that spelled? G-O-D-E? G-O-A-E-D?
G-O-D-E and then John.
Mm.
It's a weird name.
A Christian dating website.
They'd met on a Christian dating site, so she'd finally told this girl that she'd met this boy and she really liked him. And from all intents and purposes, it does sound like they were obsessed with each other.
Hmm.
This boy, he grew up in Wisconsin. There's not much about his early life, but he was supposedly autistic. He had a very low IQ. That's about all we know about his childhood, really.
Okay.
He'd begun talking to Gypsy. They've been having this online relationship, and the thing that really surprises me is this relationship centered around BDSM.
From his direction too.
From both directions.
Well,
I mean,
well,
it's
hold
just-
on. Now, when I say from his direction, I mean that obviously, where would she have gotten this idea that this even existed?
Exactly.
Whereas this person, this guy, this Nicholas John, whatever the heck his name is, he got on I think it was meetapastor.com or
I can't
some
remember,
Christian
yeah, it
deal,
was a
but-
Christian site.
and she is looking for love in all the wrong places.
As every teenage girl
Well,
does.
that's what it is. And, here he is supposed to be all Christian and stuff, and he's coming up there with some anime BDSM
Yeah,
crap.
well, to me, it's just, how did this girl, who thinks that she has the mental age of a 7-year-old, go from talking to her friend about kissing to being in a relationship talking about BDSM?
I don't know.
So quickly.
What was worse is that, did you see where she had, 7 different personalities?
Yeah, they'd begun like this whole imaginary life online.
Yeah.
So it was like their own little world, and in this little world, she put costumes on because she wasn't overly attractive. Her mum had obviously told her she had leukemia, so she told her she had to shave her head.
Yeah, she
all
started
the-
wearing wigs and stuff.
All the medication had rotted her teeth out.
Yeah.
So she didn't feel the most attractive, so she'd put wigs on and costumes, and she ended up with, a few different alter egos based on what she thought Nicholas wanted.
Yeah.
Which is
Whatever
a bit
mood was
twisted in
over
its
them.
own, on
Oh,
its
yeah.
own.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that she's not an unattractive woman. I mean,
Oh, no,
you know,
now she's had chance to grow her hair out and
Yeah, I mean,
live
she's-
healthily.
yeah, she's not
you
an
know,
unattractive woman. It's just-
She's a very pretty girl now, yeah.
in that sense, she was dying for love, dying for attention. So this guy, who was a bad influence in the first place, I mean, he's got to have a rap sheet, right? He's got
Well.
he's got some kind
Well.
of some kind of things that he's done in the past that might be a little seedy.
This is my favourite part. It sounds horrible. I'm not being horrible. I know that, a woman died. It's not a joke. But into his second year of his relationship with Gypsy, so they're doing this whole online, they are obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
In 2013, when he was 23, he got arrested for, and I think it's the word.
What did he get arrested for doing?
Every news report, every documentary has this same wording. He got arrested for masturbating and fondling himself while watching pornography for 9 hours in McDonald's.
9 hours.
There is so much wrong with that.
That is so impressive.
Like, I hope
9
someone got
hours.
sacked. Like, in McDonald's as well, how do they not notice that someone is masturbating for 9 hours? Or did they notice and think, do you know what, we'll just leave him be?
Oh,
It's all right, we've just got kids in here.
He's choking the chicken over in the corner. There's
9
a ball pit out there.
hours.
These kids are flopping and playing and having a good time, and there he is.
How
beating his
does
stick.
that even work?
Oh man, for 9 hours, how did nobody see that? Like,
How
that
could he
is-
keep going? 9 hours.
That's some stamina. That's some impressive stamina.
This autism isn't messing with his focus that much, is it?
That is some. Yeah, well, you know, he can focus on that, I guess. And then goes off to meet this.
I wonder if he
Gypsy
told Gypsy. There is no record. I wonder if he told Gypsy. Because they were dating at the time.
Oh, so wait, that happened while they were
While
dating?
they were dating.
All right,
It was like
all right.
into the second year of
Oh,
their
my goodness,
relationship.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like prior to
No,
the... Dang. All right, so he got...
9 hours.
Yeah, 9 hours.
I hope
Just
someone
think
got
about that for a
sacked.
second. I mean, I'm just saying, you like 15 seconds watching one video and it's already like, all right, I'm done with this
'Cause,
one.
I
Let's
mean,
move
I
to the
don't know
next
how
one.
McDonald's are in America. I know how McDonald's are here, and I know that someone masturbating and watching pornography for 9 hours would get spotted before 9 hours. You know, they'd be out of there pretty damn quick.
Wait, at least go to the bathroom, dude. Maybe
he was in the
Maybe he was
bathroom.
in the bathroom. Maybe he was in the bathroom in the handicap stall, you know, choking it out. It's like, oh, this is great.
dear.
I love it. Oh, I feel so good. You know,
Maybe I hadn't even thought that it was in the bathroom. Like, I had
Might
this
have been
idea
in
of
the
him
bathroom.
in public view in a like little stall in McDonald's with his Big Mac.
his
Making
Big Macs,
his
like, can
special
you imagine?
sauce.
He's making his special sauce. You can imagine that. He's going on. Someone goes up to the manager. Excuse me, sir. I believe someone is fondling themselves in the bathroom stall. Well, I'm sorry. I'll
Oh
deal
my
with this
God.
right now. Dum 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 dum. Excuse me, sir. Can you please put your pot away?
I mean, surely someone noticed, even if it was in the bathroom, someone had to be in that McDonald's with the kids and notice what he was doing. They must have done.
You know what? They probably found out because he's a screamer.
Well, I mean, if it's took you 9 hours, I should imagine you would be.
Lord, shit would be raw. Raw, man. That is nuts.
I'm not sure I could even imagine having sex for 9 hours, let alone masturbating for 9 hours.
Ugh,
That's a bit
that-
ridiculous.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, yeah, we should move on from that.
It's just too funny. It's just too
I've
funny.
never
How is that
heard of anyone getting arrested for something so ridiculous.
not- in a McDonald's?
Well, by that, I don't mean that he shouldn't have got arrested. I mean that, come on,
Well,
it just doesn't happen, does it?
in 2013, they got rid of ball pits a while ago, like quite some time ago, because they found some really.
Oh, we've never
disgusting
had them in
things.
ours.
He got rid of them because they found some really disgusting things, like the poster child for McDonald's ball pit. Was a 3-year-old that was playing in the ball pit and came out and told the mom, "Hey, my butt hurts,"
Yeah.
hiney or whatever they say at 3 years old, and then she checked.
Tushy.
Yeah, tushy.
Isn't that an American one?
Tushy? Hey,
I don't know, we don't say that here,
I've heard
I just
tushy.
think it sounds
I've heard
funny.
tushy. She checked under the diaper, and there was a little welt on the child's butt, and it looked like bug bites, so she didn't really think about it. Next day, woke up, child had passed away. They cleaned out the ball pit and found nothing but used diapers, heroin needles, all sorts of stuff.
It just amazes me that they wouldn't clean that out every day, because we have places here where they have ball pits for kids to play in.
Yeah.
And they clean it out every day, sometimes periodically throughout the day,
I mean,
to make sure that it's safe for the children to play in.
Just saying, maybe Nicholas was doing it in there. They had to clean out the sticky balls.
Oh my God.
All right, let's move on
dear.
from that because I got too many jokes for that.
Right, yeah, so anyway, we're coming close to the actual
So
thing now.
So they meet. he's into BDSM, she's into him, so, I hate to say it, but that's how these things go. She's going to be all like, I'm going to do whatever. He's showing me attention. He's a boy. He's the first boy to show me attention. And this is a filthy, dirty secret because my mom doesn't know about it, which just makes it that much more entertaining.
Oh, we've all been there.
It's like, ooh. It's
Sorry,
like,
Mom.
It's like, I'm going to date you because I hate my parents or some crap,
Yeah, we've all been there too.
Hey, there you go.
Again, sorry, Mum.
It happens more for women than men. But,
so, we get to 2015.
All right, 2015.
And
That's a good year.
Gypsy now believes she's 19.
All right. Does she believe or does she know?
No, she believes.
Oh, she doesn't actually have an exact age?
No, she's not sure because her mother changed her age so much as she was younger. Dee Dee, said she was born at this time, so Gypsy does believe she's 19. She genuinely thinks that.
Yeah.
And Nicholas would then be 25, I believe.
All right. Yeah.
And she'd started telling Nicholas some things that have been worrying her and stressing her out. And one of these things in particular was that she knew she could walk, but that her mother had made her use a wheelchair since as long as she could remember.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to, even though she knows she can walk, her mother won't let her.
Yeah.
Even walk to the next room just to get a bit of exercise. She won't let her.
Yeah.
Also, she told him that she had a feeding tube and that she could eat, but she wasn't allowed to because she had this feeding tube, but her mother, obviously she'd heard her mother talking to doctors, etc., and her mother had obviously told everyone she couldn't eat, physically.
Okay.
Things like this, and that she was scared that she'd never ever be able to leave her mother's house because she's supposed to be absolutely, useless without her mother. She can't do anything.
Well, yeah, but she had also, what was it? She had also set up dates with this boy out of...
Oh, yeah,
that
was also in 2015.
2015.
The cinema.
She would get her mom to take her to a movie.
It was only once.
It was only the one time, and then they met in the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
And it only lasted 10 minutes or something.
Because she wasn't allowed to date, obviously. She'd asked her mum if she could go see this movie. And her mum said yes. And she was desperate to meet this boy. And this boy said he'd travel from Wisconsin over to Missouri.
Oh, that's a bit of a travel.
And he did. And she was like, you can't talk to me in front of my mum. You can't acknowledge me. Do not, no sign that you know me whatsoever. So she goes to see this movie, and he sits a bit away in the cinemas. And she excuses herself to go to the bathroom. He meets her in the bathroom, and they have sex.
Okay.
Straight up like that.
I guess that's how you do it.
Never met before, just talked over the internet. Which, they were talking for a few years.
Okay.
I should imagine all the BDSM talk has built the sexual tension up to quite a level.
Oh, yeah. Put your head in a toilet. Go on.
Yeah, apparently it was quite rough, forceful sex on his part, but we only have Gypsy's word for that.
Well, your first time, is that not going to be forceful in your mind? I don't know, again.
Well, I think my first time and most people's first times are just a short, bumbling mess. I don't think I know.
It's not a...
we just know it happened, and we never want that to happen again because we don't even know what that was.
Yeah.
It was so quick and so ridiculously uncomfortable.
On the guy's side, it's a little bit different. It's more like,
and the girl's questioning, do I really ever want to do that again?
Oh, yeah. So is that how that works?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on.
So, yeah, they met and had sex in the bathroom, and that was the only time they'd actually physically met each other before the murder. So, yeah, she's telling him all this stuff. She's terrified she can't leave her mother's house. They've had sex in a bathroom, in a cinema.
No.
He likes his public places, apparently.
Yeah. Lord. Excuse me, sir.
I'm never going to get over that.
That's too funny.
Never.
So on to the important part. They've met. She's sending him a lot of high maintenance stuff. But at this point, I see I see that the tables have kind of turned in terms of
Control.
control.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Emotionally.
Yes, Gypsy Rose is definitely realized that she controls him.
Well, in my mind, she's grown up with her mother, who has been, reported by so many people as being such a manipulative woman that will always get away. She's so controlling. So this is all Gypsy's ever seen in like behaviour wise
Mm-hmm.
with anyone. So I suppose Gypsy thinks this is how you act. This is normal, and Gypsy is naturally going to be very manipulative because of that.
Yeah. Well, it's nurture, nature, blah, blah, blah. She learns from her mom, and she
Of
goes from
course.
there.
I mean, the whole nature and nurture argument I'll get onto in some different cases, but I heavily believe that everything is nurture,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's...
in my opinion.
Anyway, so she pretty much is going on with this whole, I love you, and he's like, I love you more. And it's like, well, okay, it goes back and forth.
She actually says, he says in one message, I love you, I'd do anything for you. And she was like, you'd do anything for me, really, anything. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, would you kill for me? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, would you kill my mom?
Yeah.
I can't say mom, it's so weird.
Mom.
Because we say mum.
Well, it's easy for me to say mum because, I'm like mummy.
Oh, it's really weird. But anyway, yeah, so she'd already suggested this, and they decided that if they couldn't come up with a suitable plan to get Gypsy out of this house, they would murder her mother.
Okay. But, which they eventually did, but Gypsy had nothing to do with it other than leaving the door open. Or unlocked, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it was on Gypsy's suggestion.
Yeah.
He told her, they'd arranged between themselves when he was going to, make the journey, because it apparently it's quite a journey from Wisconsin to Missouri.
It's a while. Yeah.
And she was told by him to just leave the door open, stay in her room, and don't come out no matter what you hear.
Yeah.
And that is what she did.
Yeah.
And this was, let me just get a date for this, just so, because I feel like we've covered a lot of time, and I just want to get a date for incidents. I do have it here somewhere.
While you're looking that up. Yeah, she went on record stating that while he was in there doing the deed, she could hear her mom screaming for her. Gypsy, Gypsy, that kind of thing. And she said it was the most terrifying sounds she'd ever heard. And as you can imagine, he stabbed her a couple times. It wasn't just one time. He just repeatedly stabbed.
I didn't get an exact number, which is quite weird, because normally you'll have a post-mortem report which will tell you exactly how many wounds were inflicted.
Exactly.
I couldn't find that. I've just got multiple stab wounds, is what every source I've got says.
Yeah.
As for the day, I've not got the exact date, but it was in June of 2015 when this happened.
Exactly. Oh, so June 2015.
2015.
Okay, so the anniversary's coming up here shortly. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I thought was neat was after it was done, they went on Facebook.
I was just getting to that part.
And then, I mean, they went on Facebook after the deed was done, and...
It was Gypsy's and her mother's joint account they went on to.
Yeah, saying stuff like, what?
That bitch is dead was the first. That was the one that triggered everything, but there was a few messages,
Yeah, there was another one, like, and her daughter, too, or something,
the neighbours believed that someone had murdered Dee Dee and abducted Gypsy.
Oh, okay.
That
so
is
it
what
was
the
the
neighbours
abduction.
believe.
I thought it was, I thought she posted up there that somebody had killed them both.
I'm not sure. Something like about her sweet little daughter or something.
Yeah. It seems like a strange thing to do anyway. I mean, what person, I know there are people out there that would, but, clearly not smart ones, but who's going to get on Facebook and claim, I did this, even if it is not your own?
That's kind of...
That not only gives a time mark or timestamp as to when it happened, but, I mean... Okay, well, yeah, it gives a timestamp.
Well, I was going to say a little later, but obviously I'll say it now. Yeah. The body wasn't found for 4 days. So if he hadn't have been on Facebook and just gone, it's possible they could have got away with it. They'd have bought themselves a lot of time.
Yeah, they could have gotten away, not Canada or anything.
Because it was
but-
only by chance that they found them. I mean, the police found Dee Dee's body after the neighbour had reported that there was this Facebook post and they'd had a look in the house.
Yeah.
And obviously they'd found Dee Dee's body, but they'd noticed that all Gypsy's wheelchairs were there. And obviously they think that Gypsy can't walk.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, someone's got Gypsy, she can't walk,
Yeah.
she's helpless,
She's
vulnerable. Someone's abducted this poor little girl.
Yeah.
And it was only by chance that the police talked to this girl that she was talking to on Facebook, and this girl brought up the name of her boyfriend.
Oh, you mean Gypsy's old friend?
Yeah, the one
chick-
who
the
she was talking
girlfriend?
to
Yeah, the
about like
girlfriend.
kissing and stuff.
Yeah. I was able
that
to
one.
help with the
Well,
like,
she
who the
told
boyfriend
him, she showed them like screenshots with his name on it and stuff. So
Yeah.
from that, they obviously found him.
is. Okay.
And they were very smart, and they'd gone to his house and they'd mailed the murder weapon to themselves.
Yeah. Oh God, that was great. They mailed. What did they do? They mailed the murder weapon, which was just your standard kitchen knife, I believe, to his parents' house,
Where they were.
and where they were found.
Because this winner was, living with his parents at 25.
Yeah, I mean they were found there before the murder weapon got there, which is impressive because yes, I know we all like to make jokes about how slow the mailmen are and all that stuff. You got caught if the police caught you before the mail got there.
Yeah, I mean
screwed
they
up.
had like 4 days, like I said. I think they found them on the 5th day, so they found them the day after they found the body.
Okay.
And then we get to the part that's interesting for me,
Okay.
which is they got arrested. And there's a lot of footage from them being arrested, the interviews.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh no, we burped.
I was going to try style that out like I was clearing my throat or something, but yes, I burped. I'm drinking cherry Coke. I run off it. Where was I? So yeah, there's a lot of footage of them in the police cells, and the one thing I notice is there is this famous bit of footage that's in a few documentaries and can be found online anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where this policeman goes in, sits down, he says to Gypsy, because, I should say that before that, Gypsy and Nicholas were sat together and they were sort of like holding each other, and you could visibly see him squeezing her, like, don't say anything sort of thing.
Okay, so like the mom did.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is kind of, I was going to say there's a kind of ironic thing there. Gypsy would later say that she realised that she'd fallen for Nicholas because he was exactly like her mum, because he was controlling, and that's all she knew. You do that. I mean, they say girls marry their fathers and stuff. It's a common psychological thing. But anyway, they got arrested. He's squeezing her around, then he's taken away to be interviewed.
Yeah.
She sits there, and the sheriff, I believe it is, comes in, sits down next to her and says, "Your mother's dead." As if she didn't know. And Gypsy then acted as if she didn't know. And she was all hysterical. And she's like, "Oh, no, I love my mum." And he's like, "Look, I know you do, but what happened?" But for me, it's interesting because she's acting completely hysterical, but you can tell she's not. Like, there's something about her that's just, you can tell it's an act.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's not.
Later in these documentaries, and I agree with you, you can definitely
I find
tell
that very disturbing.
something doesn't seem right, but it's, she's obviously had an entire life
of course
of acting. Everything in her life has been about acting.
There's been an act.
It's like, act like you're 5, act like you're sick, act like this, or it's not even being told to act that way. It's you are this way.
And that's the point we're gonna explore when she goes to jail and stuff with the sentencing, like.
Yeah. And what ended up happening? Yes, you can look at footage after it's done, but your knowledge might shroud that.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because you're like, okay, well, I know she did it. You know, right now we're just laughing at her because she's trying to pretend she didn't. But at the same time, if you didn't already know that, you'd say, wow, that's kind of impressive, but something doesn't seem right.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, which I think I need to remember doing my research going forward. That, yeah, you do, while you can look at people and in hindsight say, oh, this is how they are acting, sometimes you can only pick up on that because you know the story. But I think in this case, it's obvious whether you know it or not. I think it's very obvious that she's...
I mean, they've admitted to it, obviously.
Yeah, it was a very quick process. He was taken to an interview. They talked about you can see the interview online. They talked about his IQ, things like that. They mentioned the masturbation incident at McDonald's.
Of course they did. They like to pinpoint that one.
And then eventually he said, yes, I stabbed her mom. So that was all nice and quick. And then they got extradited to Springfield because obviously they got arrested in Wisconsin. And in America, that's how it works.
Well, with Chief Wiggum, I'm sure that'll be a quick case.
Well, it was quite a quick case. They put her on $1 million bond. Well, both of them.
Yeah.
Obviously for bail until trial, but I don't think they did get bailed out. I mean, it's $1 million.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
But
well, you get a bondsman if you own a house. I mean, she would own a house at this point. You know, if you had a bail's bondsman, you can get out for 10%.
During this period of, her being arrested and the trial, she's seen by a lot of doctors. The doctors all confirm, you don't have this, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Gypsy learns her actual age. She learns that she's actually 23.
Oh,
and she thinks she's 19.
Okay.
So that must be a very big shock to the system, I have to say. That must be a bit scary.
Oh, yeah. Well, your whole life's a lie until you go with it and finally off your mom who's been, nothing but awful to you. Your father shows up, and you got to give him credit. He's doing everything he can to, fix the last 20.
He really is.
The last however many years it's been at this point.
He seems like an amazing guy.
Yeah, dude ain't even...
The stepmom unnerves me a little, I've got to say.
Yeah, she likes to put herself in that position, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a bit, yeah.
I mean, she might be the nicest person in the world, but it's like, come on.
She probably is. It's probably one of them things where, I don't personally care for people that are like that, so...
But,
we're back with the
Yeah, you're good. So, yeah, I mean, Nicholas got... I forget, did he get put to death, or did he get sentenced to lifetime?
What happened was,
he got sentenced to life, didn't he?
Obviously there was a lot of attention in the media and stuff, and after they found out what happened to Gypsy, and she was actually a victim of years of abuse, and all through the court cases, Nicholas was just, I love her, I wanted to help her.
Yeah.
So the county prosecutor, Dan Peterson, I think his name was. Yeah, I think that's right. Dan Peterson.
Okay.
He said that because he said the case was extraordinary and unusual. That was his words.
I would agree.
Which it is. So he said he wouldn't be seeking the death sentence for any of them. He got a plea deal for Gypsy for second-degree murder.
And 10 years, I think she got.
She got 10 years.
Yeah.
She's due out in 2024. And he got life for first-degree murder.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Yeah. No, by all means. It's such a weird thing because we have so many different types of degrees of murder. You have your first, which is planned out, your second, which is most commonly known as your crime of passion, and then you have your third, which is the accident. But you planned that. I can't believe I can't remember what it's called right now. But there is a attempted murder. There you go. Why couldn't I think? It's like, what is that? Oh man, I couldn't think for a minute. I mean, she obviously is such a special case because you have to look back on everything that's gone through her life. She's been, she was 6 for what 15 years.
Yeah.
She has had so many surgeries. Her mom has told her so many different things, filled her head with so much crap.
Yeah, I mean,
Kept
she's never
from the
seen
world.
a life outside of that house with her mum,
Yeah,
ever.
and even then, still hasn't because she's in prison. You
Other
know,
than her one BDSM-filled relationship online.
yeah, and in the bathroom at a
Oh,
movie
God,
theater.
yeah.
But you really can't blame her.
Mm.
It's one of those things where if you can give her the death penalty, if you can,
Mm-hmm.
then who are you? Like
No, I don't
nobody would.
believe, obviously, I do not believe that she should have got the death sentence, but
Of
obviously
course
the
not.
big argument between people was, she be in prison at all?
Well, if I had to put my 2 cents in,
Mm-hmm.
at the very maximum, she was driven insane by her mom.
Mm-hmm.
She should have gotten at the very, very max. I'd have been like 3 years
Really?
in an insane asylum.
Mm.
And now I don't mean insane asylum like everybody's like, oh look at she's crazy.
You mean like a mental
I
hospital?
mean in a position where she can be.
A psychiatric hospital,
There we go.
sorry,
That's what
that's
I
the
mean to
word.
say. She can be diagnosed. She can be helped. She is the type of person that needs help.
See, that's what I believe. I don't think they should just, like a lot of people said, you should just let her out and let her live a life. I don't think that they should.
Yeah.
And my reasoning for that is because, as you said, her whole life has been an act. She's so manipulative naturally, and she doesn't even know it probably. Like, she needs some form of help. She's obviously going to have something wrong with her after all that, even with the just finding out about her age.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised to learn that she doesn't trust anybody.
Oh, of course not. Of
Like
course
she
she won't.
probably didn't trust Nikolai one bit. Eventually, to the point where she even manipulated him to be used as a tool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she does. I saw there's some famous interviews she's done with Dr. Phil while she was in jail. I love Dr.
Oh,
Phil.
okay. If Dr. Phil can get in there.
People will hear about Dr. Phil a lot in these podcasts because he's my favourite. He's a very intelligent man.
He's a funny dude.
And he takes no shit, which is why I like him.
Yes, send him to the ranch.
Yes.
Never once said that, but go on.
But in these interviews, I mean, yes, you feel sorry for her, but I also get a very uneasy feeling when she's speaking. I don't believe a word she's saying. It's not meaning to sound horrible. I don't.
Like I've said, like I was just getting through,
Mm.
I believe that she is so manipulative that I can't trust her, but it's not her fault.
Exactly.
It is not. It's like I say all the time. If you're poking a snake and it bites you,
Yeah.
that is what a snake is.
That's
It
your
will
fault,
defend
yeah.
itself. If you put a dog in a cage and kick it every day, when you let it out of the
It's
cage,
gonna
it's
attack
going to
you,
attack
yeah.
you.
Of
That
course.
is. I hate this phrase so much, but she is 100% a product of her upbringing.
Yeah, and that's a good note to finish on. That was my whole reason for wanting to do this case. Is that she was a product of her environment. It wasn't she was born evil and she killed someone. I mean, she didn't even kill anyone.
Yeah.
But
You just got a guy to do it for her.
this is unfortunately what happens to some people.
Yeah, it is. We'll see. The I just don't think we'll see it a lot in the movie.
No,
it's gonna
I'm in two minds as to whether. I mean, obviously, I will watch the movie.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch it.
But I'm not. I'm not looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a bit of a cringe movie. I think the Casey Anthony movie's due out around the same time, which we'll get to that case at one point.
That's a nightmare.
Because that case is one of the only ones that actually brings out real anger in me.
Gypsy Rose, she needs help. She
Yes.
doesn't need, yeah.
Doesn't need jail. She needs help.
she needs to be put out of prison or pulled out of prison and put into a psych ward. That's fine.
Yes.
But she does need to be somewhere.
Yes, I agree.
She needs to work with other people, develop social skills that she clearly doesn't actually have.
Yes.
You know,
Learn
some
to maintain
people,
relationships with other people.
some people would say so far as to say that she is a complete and total psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would say, use her as parallels to Charles Manson.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far,
Well,
but yeah, I can see exactly what you're saying.
You get somebody else to do it for you. You know, that's what it is. I mean, you know, there's been great names in all of history that have done that, but I feel like she's just a classic, product of upbringing and needs psychedelic help. Not psychedelic.
Psychiatric.
Yeah. My words are losing myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it does certainly sound like the right way to go.
Mm-hmm. I agree.